Well, hey, happy day today. Happy Monday if you're listening to this at the early in the week. I'm so happy to be here today. We are going to be speaking about creating a customer journey map. What the heck is it? Why do we need it? You might be already checking out. Don't check out, come back. You might be thinking, well, no, I already know how my customers experience my brand and everything's fine. So I want to challenge you to listen to this podcast episode and think about creating your own customer journey map. It can be super eye-opening. And what we do during a customer journey map, it's like a customer experience map or a customer experience journey. There, can be called all those things. We are going to be touching on all the touch points that our clients see and feel and experience when they experience our brand. And I want to preface this by saying our brands are only, they're not what we say they are. They're what other people think we are or what other people perceive we are. And what I mean by that is when you think of your brand, and it's how people speak about your brand. So for example, it's how people say, oh, that's like the cutest shop in town. I just love going there. It's always so friendly and so nice. That's not because you advertised that and branded yourself as that. It's because you created that experience so that that customer feels that. Does that make sense? So your brand is what that customer is telling people and what the customer thinks they are. It's not what you tell people you are, it's how you create the experiences and all of the touch points that you create. And what a touch point is, it's every time your customer interacts with some aspect of your brand. And that can be your team, that can be your products, it could be your website, it could be if they trip over the carpet at your front cash. It's every little touch point. It's how they read the reviews on everything on your website or on your Facebook page. It's wherever your brand is touched by your customer. So we're going to dive in today and I'm going to give you a map and you can go through your own brand today and your own shop and see if it's really the way you want it to be. And we talked about this during our shop, creating our shop of our dreams and running our shop of our dreams in a recent episode, a podcast episode. So let's make sure that the customers are experiencing that dream shop experience for our brand and that our brand is represented. So let's jump to it. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Okay, my friends, I want to share a little story about why it's important that all of the touch points are important. So why does this matter? Let's think about a restaurant experience. Let's take ourselves right out of shops and let's just think of a restaurant experience. So you make reservations and the girl's, lovely, or the person that answers the phone is lovely. So that's awesome. It was easy to find the phone number. You made a reservation. You are going to this new fancy restaurant in town in this new place, and you've heard there's been rumble or words or chit chat and chatter about this restaurant. So you've made your reservation. It's been a great experience so far. You've gone on the website to check out the menu because that's what we do nowadays, right? To see what the food is like and what what are the pictures like and all of this stuff. We go to the restaurant. We're excited to be there. We are seated right away. We are in a beautiful area of the restaurant. Our reservation is on time. The place feels clean. It feels nice. The music is just right. The food is amazing. And I haven't even got to the food and we already are experiencing this great experience, right? So we're enjoying the food. The service is wonderful. Your hostess and everybody's been wonderful. It's been a great experience so far. And then the bill comes and it's all wrong. It's all like overcharged and not your items, and the person's really sorry but can't really handle it, and it's just a lot of hassle, and it takes a while to figure out, and she doesn't have a manager's key or something along those lines, when we have those hassles. And what has that done to all of the other experience that you've already done? You leave frustrated and, oh, yeah, you had a nice time, but that was such a pain. So we need to make sure that all of the experiences and touch points that our clients have don't leave any of those negative thoughts. And it doesn't take much for people to have a negative thought or to have a shift in our thoughts. So I want to encourage you to listen to the map that I'm going to give you so you can create your own customer journey map, and we can really think about how we can level up our hospitality. And again, one of those things we want to focus on this year. And in again, as we mentioned in our podcast about the things to focus on this year, and this is one of them, creating a really beautiful brand and making sure all of the bits and pieces are going to be worked on this year to make sure that your customers' experience is exactly what you want it to be. As we talked about in the last recent podcast about running the shop of your dreams. And part of that, I bet, is to have an amazing brand and reputation, and that our customers are feeling amazing and sharing our amazing brand with everybody else. So let's jump into how we do this. And I want to also remind those of you who are inside my retailer's inner circle that this month we are focusing on, in the month of February. As I'm recording this, it's February 2023. So we are going to be focusing on customer experience this month. So it's going to be a big conversation because we want to make sure that we help you through all these things. If you're not a member, you're welcome to join us, and we would love to have you in there. But I am going to give you all of the touch points, and I want you to think about them all as we go through it. So what's the first touch point? So many of us think our first touch point is actually when they arrive at our shop. So, and that's sort of where a lot of us pay attention to, the experience in store. And we're really good at that. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But really the first touch point is when they have awareness of our shop, when they have some kind of, inkling or heard or something. And then we call that our attract strategy is working. Somehow they found us. Maybe they drove by, maybe they had some kind of awareness, and we want to, how did they first find out about you? And I want to suggest maybe at the end of, after you listen to this podcast, to go listen to our podcast where we talk about, and I'll have it in the show notes for easy access for you, but all the things that we need to do to make sure that our marketing assets and everything is aligned. And I don't want to go through all of that right now, but it's really all the things that we should do before we even pay for ads or anything like that to make sure everything is appearing properly. So what I mean by that is we want to make sure that when people jump on our Google My Business, or they land on our website or our social media, or it could be your front window, all of those first initial attract strategies that we work so hard on, make sure that they are representing and they are accurate and they are right. Hours of, your hours, your phone number, all of those things that the customer needs at that very first awareness and contact are there. And what we want to do at each one of these stages as we create our customer journey map is we want to ask ourselves, what are our customers thinking, feeling, and doing at each one of these stages? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they doing? So they've just heard about us and they Googled us, because everybody Googles, and they've landed on our website. So what are they thinking, feeling, and doing when they land on our website? So what are they looking for? What are they feeling? Make sure all of those things are there. And we'll share some other podcast episodes that will help you about your website. We've been doing those. We've done quite a few of those as well. And your Google My Business website, podcast as well too. We'll make sure we have all of those here. But I want you to think about and ask that question every time as you go through this map. So the first thing you're going to write down is awareness of our shop. How are people becoming aware? How are we've attracted them somehow. What's the first point of contact of awareness? What's the first thing you do when you find or you hear about or think about or are trying to find a new a shop or a business or a service or a restaurant or a hairdresser or whatever it is? What do you do? Think about how you walk through, and that's what we do, right? We Google, we search, we look at social, we check them out, right? We check them out first. So what are your customers thinking, feeling, and doing? And is all of that up to snuff for you? And is the customer experience good at that point? So you can look at that. And then what happens? This is what I always say. And then what? What do they do after that? What do you do after that on your customer journey? So what happens next? Well, maybe they get in their car and they drive to your shop. So really putting yourself in the position of your client, what does that look like? So is it easy to park? Is there lighting? Is it clean? Is your parking lot clean? Is it overgrown with weeds? They get out of the car, like go park where your clients park and walk in if you don't park in that same spot, and make sure you do the whole experience for your clients. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do, is do it with fresh eyes through this. So first we do it on paper, and then we're actually get out of our like regular routine and make sure we're walking through this. So what happens next? They walk through our door. Is the door clean? Is it need repair? The mat's all crooked. Is the light bulb out over the door? What needs to be, cleaned up, tidied up, freshened up? What needs updated? Do you, have old crappy stickers on your front door? I don't know what you need to do, but think about, what are your customers thinking, feeling, and doing? What are the first impressions that you're making? What are the first impressions? Because first impressions start with awareness. That's really what all these touch points are. It's all impressions, right, that we're making. But what are the first impressions when they walk in your shop? What happens when they walk in the door? Are they greeted? What is the experience in store consistently? Not just once in a while. What is the consistent experience that they have in store? How are they greeted? How are they greeted if they call? Maybe calling is part of the next step. Are the aisles clean? Is it merchandised? Are all of these steps? And again, we have lots of podcasts we can refer you to on this. And also inside the Inner Circle, we have detailed trainings on all of these steps for you, on your store standards, on merchandising, and how to optimize these. But I really want you to have a really good eye of your own shop and look at your shop. And if you need support, of course, please reach out. But is it clean? Is it messy? Does it smell funny? And I say that because I literally had a client a couple of weeks ago who said, my shop smells funny and I didn't know it. I totally wanted to do like a social media meme on that, but I didn't. My shop smells funny and I didn't know it. That was like literally the text that she sent me was, I didn't know it. She didn't realize it kind of smelled a little bit musty, I think is what it really smelled like. So, we have to really think about, again, what are our customers thinking? What are they feeling? What are they doing now? And they walk through the shop with their very first eyes. It's the very first time. These are all touch points. These are touch points in our client's experience with our brand. The next thing, what do they do next? This is how we do it. What happens next? Well, they walk around the shop, and is it again, when we talk about merchandising, we want to make sure, is it merchandised, easy and intuitively for people? And we want to think about the cash and the cash register experience, or maybe you have a changing room. And I know you're listening now and you're thinking that this is all, I've already thought of all these things, but we kind of get creep sets in as we share on this podcast quite a bit. Things happen. We have to really kind of reset this and really think about it. And I know, again, I shared a lot of this when we talked about, are you running the store of your dreams? This is all of it together, walking through your customer's experience. And we need to do this on the regular. We also need to do this when it's not ideal circumstances. So when the shop is full, when the shop is quiet, when we have different staff working, there's different vibes happening. Is the music, all of those things that we've talked about with our shop standards, is all of that happening? And is it consistent? So what is the customer thinking, feeling, and doing? So this all comes from the customer's point of view. This is all these touch points are, what is the customer thinking, feeling, and doing? So when I write out my customer journey, I start again with awareness. I work through then what happens, and then what happens, and then what happens, for real, and be super honest with yourself. And then what happens? Well, then they walk through the shop, and then they go to the cash register to check out, or they need to be served by your clients or your employees, your team. So your team, well, how is that happening? How are they approaching people? What are they suggesting? How are they bringing them to the change room? Or how are they offering our workshops? Or what is the next step, right? What are all these, how is that all happening? And you're going to end up with this kind of spider web of things, but don't get tied up into the weeds of the how yet. Keep it to how your customer feels during this, and you can figure out the whys later. So the next part is, again, they're checking out at the cash. So they've found some items, they've brought them to the cash. So how comfortable is your cash? Is it too high? Is it too low? All of these things. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they doing from a customer's point of view at that stage? What does your receipt look like? Is it sloppy or messy, or is it cute, or is it, clever, or like, how are you making them feel when they get their receipt? And that sounds like a little thing, but how are they feeling when they get the receipt? How are they feeling when they are watching you package and see you package? What's the conversation? What's happening? What's happening at all these stages? We don't want any of these touch points to be messy or like that misstep in the receipt. If there is a misstep in the receipt, how is that handled? What's happening? Again, how are we rectifying all these? Because there's always missteps along the way, right? So how are we handling these to make our customers feel good through all of this? So what is the experience with our products? It doesn't end when they leave the door. It does not end when they walk out that door and they go to their car. It doesn't end. It doesn't end, because what happens is now they've come home and they've got your bag and they're unpacking your products. So then what happens if there's a product? Well, what happens if there's an issue? Or what happens if they love it? How do we have things in place for them to brag us up and refer us and leave reviews? What are they thinking when they just fall in love with that product or that thing that they just bought from you? Like, what is the next step there? How are we still serving them at that stage and creating touch points and opportunities for that to be part of it? So again, leaving reviews, or what's the return policies, the phone number on the receipt. Just think about all those little things that matter. And this is a living document. This customer journey is a living document. One last thing what happens? Well, ideally they come back, right? Ideally they've come back. Do you have anything in place to, remember and remind, greet people that have come back? Do you have a team sort of mantra about welcoming people back and welcome back? Is there something that your team does? And again, that might not be part of your thing, but I want you to think about when a customer comes back for the second time, what are they thinking, feeling, and doing? And when they come back for the third and the 23rd time. So thinking about everything from internally, from how your customer is looking at it, these are all the touch points that we want to nail, and we want to just leave people smiling. I'm smiling right now. Can you hear me? I'm smiling right now. And when we do mess up, things happen. As I mentioned earlier, things happen. We are going to mess up. So when that happens, how are we rectifying it? So I just wanted to, I hope this encourages you to do this. Like, again, this is a living doc. You're going to be going through this regularly. We go through it regularly with clients. So this is something that is really important for all of us. I know we have so many things on our plate, and it also is it's again, it's a living document is what I mean. What I mean by that is it's ever changing. If that was unclear, it's an ever changing document. It's something that we're always adding to and revisiting. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you are able to create a customer journey map for you and your shop, for your customer, I should say. Maybe it's not for you and it's not for your shop. It's for your customer. This will help solidify your brand and what people are saying about you, saying about your brand, and how it makes them feel, because people buy with emotions. We all know that. People spend with, emotions, and that's what we do so well. We create amazing experiences and amazing places for people to buy from us. So we need to make sure that we are paying attention to our customers' journey through all of these beautiful aspects of your business. So thanks for listening. It was a quickie today. I hope you'll reach out if I can serve you in any way, any of my programs or services. And don't forget, it's not too late if you'd like to join us for our monthly live roundtables, our retailers roundtable. Join us inside the Retailers Inner Circle, and you can join us live and we can talk about this so we can help you out with your customer journey map. So thanks, my friends. We will see you next week. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm I'm so glad that you're here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.